Welcome to this class on project investment preparation. As you might recall, project investment preparation is the second stage of our project investment process. And we've seen that during the past classes that we have several stages we have to go through in order to make our project to become real and to implement our choices. As we will see, the preparation is the study of the investment opportunity. So we need three main elements which are going to be depicted through this outline. Project preparation as an investment study. We will start with the definition of project preparation, and we will explore the different elements and conditions which are necessary for the project appraisal and which are preliminary for the project feasibility as well. Second, the main elements of the preparation. Lately, we will deal with the various considerations about feasibility, pre-investment studies, the support of ComFAR software and others. About the last point, as we will see, this complex activity could be helped by many tools. One of these are specific softwares, and the ComFAR release number 3, it's one of the most diffused in the world. Project preparation as an investment study. Project preparation, it's the study of an investment opportunity. A project is designed and its feasibility assessed. We might say some more words about these two elements we just seen. Study recalls the idea of a systematic investigation about antecedents and consequences of the investment itself. As we might recall, we have different partners, we have different actors taking part to the investment process. So as we will see during this stage, we will explore the different preferences and the different opportunities for all these partners. When it comes to feasibility, we will see that the project itself should be able to live on a self-standing basis, which implies that, in other words, the investment should be sustainable, both from a financial and an operational standpoint. To set the study limits is the first phase of such a phase of the investment process. So the preparation, if we walk on a consultant's shoes, starts with the exploration of the limits of the study. In actual terms, this implies that we are dealing with a hypothesis and we have to show the feasibility and the real opportunities behind those hypotheses. Second, we have to design the project. So the project itself cannot be improvised, but again, walking on consultants' shoes, we should give the project a structure which is made of collection of relevant information, to provide a configuration of the project itself, to study the project as an investment, to analyze the results, to estimate the performance indicators, and, last but not least, we should assess the risk related to the project. All those elements are the main structure of a project design. After having done that, we should test the feasibility of the project. So as we will see momentarily, the project itself should be autonomous, both from a financial and an operational point of view, once it's launched. We should select an optimal configuration. Configuration recalls the idea that different investments could have different levels of risks and eventual profits for investors. So it's crucial to define what kind of typology or configuration our investments fall in. The last part is the provision of recommendations. So provide recommendations is a crucial part for the project preparation. Recommendations are very important because once the project is designed, as we've seen already, it should live on a self-standing basis. So recommendations could be considered as the actual instructions that we're giving to the investors or the sponsors or whatever partner is carrying the investment on. Project identification should be summarized into a process as well. The first stage is to scan sources of ideas. This is very important if we recall that during the past class we dealt with the idea of business idea or business concept. So to explore and analyze the business idea and concepts underneath the project investments we're dealing on, it's crucial for the success of the investment itself. So a proper scanning activities is required. Profile and develop selection criteria. These two elements can be considered together. On one hand, profile implies that our investment should be analyzed in a proper way, considering profits and risks which are embedded in the investment itself. And the profiling cannot be made on a self-standing basis, since it's very closely related to the criteria that we're using or referring to for analyzing our project. So we will see in details the different participants, investors, financiers, licensors, and so on, could adopt different criteria for assessing the same investment, meaning that they have different areas of attention and different priorities in order to assess the profitability of the investment and, not to forget, to see and explore and assess the compatibility between their own activities, the already existing activities, and the new activities that the project investment implies. The last element is to screen ideas versus criteria. So, the process of project identification ends with the comparison between the elements and the relevant issues of the business ideas and concepts on one hand, and the criteria adopted by the different participants on the other hand. Once we explored the main elements of this project identifications in terms of phases, let's go a little bit deeper in our analysis and let's deal with the main elements of project preparation. So these main elements could be classified as follows. The first one is the market analysis. Now, in order to understand the importance of market analysis, we should recall that our investment is not a financial investment, it's an operational investment, which means that its mission is to provide new goods and or new services. Those kind of goods and services should be sold in a market. So we need a market analysis in order to explore threats and opportunities for marketing our products and services. The technical analysis embeds all the technical elements related to the project. So as we will see, it will deal with the choices of the proper technology as well as the selection of the most effective combination of all the existing technologies as well. Financial analysis. As we will see, the financial analysis is related to the sources of capital that the investments could refer to. Financial analysis can be conducted both in a static and dynamic way, and according to the participant as well, it will highlight different aspects related to project profitability and project risk as well. The last item is related to the economic analysis. It's marked in yellow because not all projects implies or embeds an economic analysis. In our situation, in our setting, project investment on a foreign basis, the economic analysis could be very important because if we compare two or more countries, it's going to be relevant to explore the difference between two or more economic systems as well. Market analysis is made of two main elements. The first one is the so-called market assessment. So, again, since we're dealing with the products and services, we should assess what's the dimension of the market we're referring to, what is the potential market share we could conquer, what is the typology of customers and clients we're exposed to in this market we're going to serve. What is the sustainability of such actions? What is the life cycle of our products or services in those specific markets? So the assessment is crucial in order to sustain the investment sustainability as well, in order to formulate consistent and coherent hypotheses in our project proposition. Once we have done the market assessment, once we have realized what are the opportunities in the market we're targeting, then we have to define a precise marketing strategy. As we will see, the marketing strategy answers to some questions related to what kind of price we're going to adopt on such markets, what kind of products we're going to sell in such markets, what kind of distribution channels we're going to go through in order to deliver to the final clients and final customers our products. As I was mentioning, the technical analysis is made of engineering and technology. It's related to the usage of all the resources we're employing in our investment project. So, technology could play a crucial role when it comes to physical investments like plants, equipments, and machinery. So it's engineering in terms of design of such technologies in order to design the combination of the different technological solutions. Second element, location, site, and environment. The location is a part of the technical analysis in the sense that it's crucial for the project profitability as well. I mean, considering the target area in a geographic sense we're taking in consideration for our investments, if the area is not economically developed, probably our investment, as we will see, is going to be called a greenfield investment, meaning that the project is establishing a brand new activity in an area which is not industrialized so far. On the other hand, if the location, the site, and the environment is ready for hosting economic activities, or if in the past used to be exposed to industrial activities, probably our investment is going to be labeled as a brownfield investment, meaning that we're planting something on a territory which is ready for hosting investments in terms of infrastructures, utilities, services, and so on and so forth. Third element, raw materials and supplies. Raw materials, supplies, byproducts, inputs in general are crucial for whatever manufacturing activities and are crucial for whatever service delivering activities. So the availability, the quality, and the average prices of raw materials and general supplies are relevant for the investment preparation. Again, working from a consultant's shoes, it's relevant to prepare the investment project considering all the actual evidences and figures about raw materials and supplies. Human resources, it's another crucial item in project preparation. Human resources could be relevant both in a quantitative and qualitative way. From a quantitative perspective, the number of people with the necessary skills which could be employed in the activities related to the investment is crucial for the project appraisal. When it comes to education, another element could be related to the skill abundance or the skill shortage in the target market. Meaning that from a quantitative point of view, we could have a resource availability, but from a qualitative view, we can have a scarcity of resources if those kind of humans are not trained enough or educated enough for being employed in the project in a straightforward manner. Organization and overhead. The project should be self-standing from a financial and economic standpoint. It has to be feasible, it has to be able to live on its own, but it cannot survive without being hosted in a hosting organization. So the organization is crucial in terms of representing the environment where the investment is going to be developed in. Since the organization is going to have its own value chain and its own activities and its own established roles and structure, we have to consider the overhead costs related to the usage of the organization itself. So the organization is going to deliver some services to the project, and coherently we should consider the related costs for absorbing such services. That's why overhead should be included in the economic analysis and the feasibility analysis as well. That's why organization and overhead should be considered in this preparational phase. Last but not the least, the implementation planning. Another introductory activity related to the project investment, which is consistent with the study limits we started from, is the implementation plan. So the implementation plan is part of the technical analysis in the way it's a kind of guideline for making the investment produce its own results, for making the expected actions to become real and actual actions within the organization setting. The technical analysis leads to the financial analysis. When it comes to the financial analysis, we adopt the investor perspective. So we're dealing with investment costs and production costs. So the investment costs are those kind of expenses and costs related to the startup of the investment. Whereas production costs could be considered as the systematic costs related to the deployment of activities planned in the investment project. Meaning that if we have to go through some preliminary studies, as we will see, if we have to ask some consultants to give their own ideas and opinion about the feasibility of our plan, this is going to fall in the investment costs box. All the other costs related to the implementation of the investment itself are instead labeled as production costs. When it comes to finance, it's the consideration of the requirements of capital for deploying the investment itself. So all these costs which have been considered in terms of burden related to the investment have to be covered in a financial way. So finance is related to the purchasing of the necessary capital for making the investment real. Indicators of financial performance. Indicators are crucial, and the estimation of indicators is crucial for promoting the investment itself. So when it comes to financial performance, we should consider a set of indicators which mirrors the expectations of different participants to the investment. So we've seen already that different investors or different typology of participants might have different criteria for assessing the investment itself. Consistently, we need different sets or subsets of indicators for showing to these participants that the investment could be considered attractive from their own perspectives. Financial criteria are closely related to what we were saying about the financial performance indicators. Financial criteria implies the short-term, the mid-term, or the long-term orientation of our participants. Financial criteria could embed the risk adversity and or the risk propensity of our participants. Financial criteria could be related to the volatility of returns of our investments, meaning that some participants might be happier with the regular systematic returns from the investment, whereas other participants could be more satisfied with higher but more risky expectations about the project investment returns. The economic analysis, which is not given, that's going to be present in an investment project preparation phase, relates to the economic prices. The idea of shadow prices is related to the fact that sometimes some additional costs that the organization hosting the investments could go through are not that clear. That's why they're called shadow prices. So shadow prices could be considered as the cost opportunity of investing in a certain area instead of another area. Could be considered the cost of installation of whatever economic activity related to the rules of that specific country. Inflation itself could be considered a shadow price. Volatility in exchange rate of currency could be considered another shadow price as well. So everything which is not that visible from an economic point of view, but is still costing something to the organization investing in a specific project, could be considered as a shadow price. Second element, costs and benefits. Now, if we consider a country, or a target country better, as a social community and as an economic subsystem, we might be exposed to some costs and benefits which are related to the specific conditions we might find in that specific country. So, if our activity operates in the agriculture industry, for example, the physical climate, the weather, could be a source of costs and benefits related to our products. Could be a source of profitability or unexpected losses related to our project and to our products. Externalities. Externalities are positive effects that whatever entity is receiving from an external environment. So, we call positive externalities the fact that a plant or a facility is able to connect to the utility infrastructures at a low cost. So again, if we recall some ideas I've already exposed, if our investment could be labeled as a brownfield investment, it means that our facility is going to be located in an area which is already developed from an industrial point of view, or used to be developed from an industrial point of view, and we can exploit some existing resources like infrastructures. In such a case, we could absorb a positive externality coming from the external environment. On the contrary, if our facility is absorbing negative externalities, it means that it's suffering additional costs related to the inefficiency of the rest of the external environment where our activity is taking place. Social factors. If we consider the hosting country as a community, as a social community, well, we might be exposed to social factors impacting on our staff, on our human resources, on our negotiation conditions, for example. So, if negotiation is very clear and lean by tradition, as in certain countries, then the costs related to such activities could be lower than the situation where negotiation goes through a very long and time-consuming processes, as in many countries in this world. So social factors have a big impact on the project identification opportunities as well, since at the end of the day they could enhance the benefits or reduce the profitability of the project itself. Again, when it comes to economic analysis, we could refer to different criteria, considering the specific participant's perspective we are taking in consideration. Some various considerations about feasibility, pre-investment studies, the support of ComFAR software, and others. As I was mentioning before, project feasibility means that the project can live within all constraints. Means that considering the limits and the opportunities related to the studies, we have a kind of green light for stating that the investment could survive on its own legs. The second element of feasibility is that job of analyst is to try to identify constraints and configure project accordingly. So if feasibility is the ability of the project to live within all the constraints, then a necessary phase is to identify all these possible constraints. Eventually, it requires entrepreneurs who can successfully deal with constraints and bring the project to fruition, which means that we need necessary skills and competencies and capabilities in the entrepreneurs carrying the project on. When it comes to the content of a pre-investment study, we have a kind of standard structure, or at least a bunch of necessary elements which have to be taken in consideration and proposed in the structure of our investment. Executive summary is the first one. Project background is very important as well. The project background explores all the hypotheses and all the expected results related to the project itself. So it's where the idea comes from and how the idea is going to be developed in the project itself. The third element is the market analysis that we mentioned already. Then we have the technical analysis. Then we have the financial analysis and the economic analysis. So here we have all the elements of analysis we have explained so far, complemented by an executive summary and a description of the project background. The last element of this pre-investment study is the investment appraisal, which is going to be the topic of next classes. Just to give you some ideas, the investment appraisal is the phase, as we mentioned, where we really adopt a critical lens for exploring all the hypotheses that we mentioned in the project and the feasibility of the implementation of such ideas. When it comes to additional resources, information flow diagrams could be very useful. So they are related to the preparation of the pre-investment studies, and they're made of collecting, organizing, processing, and analyzing all the activities related to the project itself. So in this project identification phase, we could refer to the flow diagrams in order to show all the links between the sub-activities and all the connections between such activities and the expected output and outcomes of the project itself. Some points to ponder when it comes to flow diagram representation. Iterations. which means the numbers of loops and interactions and frequency of actions within the depicted activities. Alternatives consider the availability of different ways for reaching the same goal, or the different manners for exploiting the same benefits or reducing the same costs. Third, the breakdown and the synthesis of the project itself. So, as we will see in the next class, there are several tools for breaking the activities down and decomposing the activities in a way that they could be managed by the participants, the entrepreneurs, and sponsors of the project itself. Then we have the need of a multidisciplinary approach, since the investments could involve different professionalities, different competencies, and has to match probably with different needs. Then we have the immersion, which is related to the idea that the investment, as we were saying, is not a self-standing entity, but has to be hosted by an organization or by whatever organizational setting. Last but not least, as we will see in details in the next classes, we have to deal with the risk related to the investment itself. We have different scenarios of risk according to different criteria we adopt for promoting the investments to our actual and potential participants. The last element is related to the use of some softwares. ComFAIR software is a very famous one, and it's pretty diffused around the world. ComFAIR stands for Computer Model for Feasibility Analysis and Reporting. And as you can see in your supporting materials, we refer to the ComFAIR 3rd edition expert version. So we might refer to this release of such software. Around the world, you might find different similar softwares proposing similar features. So, in sum, this ComFAIR software 3rd release expert version provides interface for structured entry of capital and operating cost data. So it includes both the operational and financial part of what we have described so far. Produces reports on financial structure, operating costs, profitability, and other financial indicators. Facilitates extensive sensitivity analysis and provide graphical results with parametric analysis. So, delivering all these features, this software is able at the end to facilitate analysis of project alternatives. That's everything for the project identification phases. For further information, you can refer both to our teaching materials and to our website. Thank you.